You boys know what's about to happen to you. You leave now.
Some consider these traits to be toxic, such as undesirable in the men of today. We consider these traits such as these not only to be desirable, but to be appreciated and celebrated. Welcome to the Toxic Male Appreciation Show, hosted by and La Reina Creole. Welcome to the safe space for the toxic male.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I'm the Reina Creole, and with me is her of positive fandom. And this, of course, is the Toxic Male Appreciation Show, where those things Hollywood likes to call toxic and look down on you for that. No, 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 no. Here we celebrate those traditional masculine traits, and especially when it comes to pop culture and our entertainment. So we have this show specially carved out to let you all know you are in a safe space where you are appreciated.
Absolutely, Lorena, and it is so great to do this show in particular. Our picks for 2023. I'm so excited for the show.
I am too. Of course there's lots of stuff that's wrong with Hollywood, but there are these nuggets out there that you and I have seen, and people we know and trust have seen and have come up with pretty much the same conclusion. But hey, we're putting all these in one episode in a nutshell so you can see what's been offered in 2023. And if you missed some, you can go back and check those out. And considering this is the last Toxic Male Appreciation of 2023, hey, we figure why not count these down? So are you ready, my dear?
Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah, right. Well, we have a list, but first I'm going to let her start off with her list with what she has. And the first one that she has, and I have to say, I'm embarrassed because I have not had the chance to finish this, and that would be the Continental from the world of John Wick. Now, you have seen this in its entirety, is that correct?
I have, and I know I sent it to you. I sent you the list in the wrong order, but this by far, Lorena, is one of the most impressive, let's say, made for television series I've ever seen. Of course, Lorena, as you know, it is the precursor to the John Wick universe. It's set in 1970s New York, one of my favorite times of New York, kind of like this dirty, gritty New York. They've got this recession, and the place is all run down, and we get to see this most incredible, story behind the Continental, the hotel, this safe space, so to speak, for all the people in John Wick's life. And it is spectacular. It's I think it's three 2-hour videos. I can't remember if it's exactly 2 hours, but it came out in September 22nd, as you can see, this year. Lorena, I didn't know what to expect when I saw this advertised. Certainly the poster looks amazing, but I was not expecting such an incredible series. It's phenomenal. Not only does it have the feel of John Wick, especially in the first episode, but then we're taken to other directions that I was not expecting. Fantastic fighting, fantastic, blazes of fire. It's everything you could possibly want in an action-packed show and more. Lorraine, I saw stuff in this that I just was not expecting. It's got this carefree feel of it from the 1970s. It is one of the best shows I've ever seen on television. It is actually my number one pick, I'm going to say, out of this whole list. I was not expecting to be blown away by this. And, there are so many elements of it that really just are so satisfying. Mel Gibson is in it, and he's great in this. I think that, his role in it is just stupendous. The gentleman who unfortunately, we lost this year. Actually, it might have been last year, but he plays the I guess the person who's running the hotel, and you find out his backstory as well. It's just phenomenal. Everything that happens in this, the setup of it, you get to see this amazing portrayal of Winston Scott. And I'm just so impressed with what they were able to come up with. It feels like a true story, and it certainly is impressive and shocking at some moments, and just really incredible. Lorena, this is for me was the best show of 2023.
Wow. I mean, from what I was able to see of the show, because I saw, I think, like the first 2 episodes, 100% agree. This is that period in New York where it's gritty. It's, you have to be tough in order to survive in the big city. And just to see just how ingrained organized crime, so to speak, runs New York at this period of time, and to see how the Continental evolved out of that. Loved Mel Gibson, love the actor who plays Winston Scott, and I keep forgetting his name, and I hate that I did that.
Colin Woodell. I'm just reading it. I didn't remember his name, but
Mhm.
he was amazing.
Yes, he was.
He's so good. And there's fighting that I haven't really seen before that happens in this program. It's
Mhm.
3 episodes, and they didn't release them all at once. You had to wait for 1 week, and then the next week, and then the following week. It's got so many good elements in it. We've got that 1970s vibe going on, and it's just you can't forget when you've seen it. This is really fantastic writing, and the fighting sequences are spectacular as well. I was so impressed by what I saw.
Oh, stairwell fight. Because that's close quarter combat. I mean, in pretty much every like top tier action flick, you've got some kind of close quarters combat going on. And that scene, how it was shot in the stairwell was something else. I was just sitting there looking like, oh my gosh, this is good. It's almost too good. It's almost too good, for streaming, but I'm enjoying it. But you're right, the fight scenes, everything was coordinated just perfectly in this.
It really was. And, of course, it is set in the 1970s. And of course, we can see Winston Scott here. It starts off where he's not in the States, he's overseas in London. And he's kind of like, I'm not going to say he entirely has made a new life for himself, but it feels as if he's kind of detached himself from his life here in the States. And for several reasons, I almost feel as if he feels maybe being overseas. This is going a little deep into it, but he feels by being overseas, he might be a little bit more posh and he can leave his life behind. And in the 70s, if you grew up in New York, you could fly over to the UK and nobody really knew who you were unless you were like up in society or royalty or, like a famous political leader. People didn't know who you were. You could leave your whole life behind and start over. So I think it is really interesting, at least as far as Winston Scott is concerned, that he seems to have done this, and this introduction or reintroduction into having to come back to the States, which is what happens to him. And this entire event that is played out unbeknownst to him affects him greatly. He has to adjust. He has to do whatever he can to kind of survive it. But there's a lot at stake for a lot of people, in regard to the situation. It's done so splendidly. It has such great balance to it. And I've never really seen anything like this. Have you?
I have not before. Just with the production value, and again, speaking of production value, making you believe that you are in that particular time period. So I was impressed with what I saw. I've been excited about this series since it was first announced. So to be able to see this not too long after John Wick 4 was very much wanted and very well received, at least as far as I'm concerned, as far as you're concerned. It was good to see that, to kind of fill in those blanks about how the Continental came to be what it is, and and just why Winston was so like he is the Continental. Like how did that happen? So this was uh this was awesome. Definitely with the holidays and you got downtime,
Yes.
dive into this. I was sincerely impressed by this, and Mel Gibson was awesome. Yes, he truly was.
Yeah, he was amazing in this. I think that we've seen so many incredible performances here. Many action stars, if they're not already well-known action stars or new action stars, will be coming out of this particular series. I think it has so much potential. Just blown away by what they did with this. And certainly they didn't have to go as far as they did with it, but it was just phenomenal. I'm so pleased with it. If it ever comes out for purchase, I'm going to buy this for my collection.
So this next one that we have coming up, actually, we haven't seen all of the episodes, but I'm pretty sure that you all will agree with me and with her as well that Reacher
Oh,
season 2
oh God.
is back.
Oh my God.
Literally.
Oh my God.
Literally. I've only seen the first 3.
I haven't seen him yet, Lorena. I haven't had a chance to watch him.
I will say it's without saying any spoilers. I don't think it has the opening charm that the first season had, but I think it's because we kind of have to go in a different direction. So I'm okay with that. It just kind of took time getting used to, but once things got rolling, okay, all right, then it's cool, but it's still, Reacher doing crazy stuff. You don't miss with the special investigators, and again, just how toxic he is. Opening scene, just he is one of the things that will get him really triggered is when people who are not able to defend themselves are being threatened, and that's a big thing, uh big thing for him, and also just how smart he he is. His brains and muscles at the same time. Basically, the we'll put it this way: the archetype of you know women want to be with him and men want to be him, that kind of thing.
Absolutely, Lorena. I can't wait to see this. And this really is the first time I think we are seeing this character realized, other than season one, in the moving image. And what a job Richardson does with this character. It's something that I have never seen anybody do with the Reacher character. And it just feels just so satisfying to see him fulfill these stories that Reacher is going to impart upon us. I'm so excited for season 2. I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I'm certainly, from what you said about it, it has a different opening. But I think both you and I know this is going to be a phenomenal series. Again, they're not going to disappoint us. It seems like they're sticking to the books, which are incredibly popular. And
Mhm.
Richardson seems to love this character. The author who's written it, who wrote the books, is aware that he plays this role. I don't know all the details, but it seems like a perfect fit. And I think the lady that he was working with before is also back in the season. I think I saw a little clip where she was talking to him. She was also maybe part of his team. It's good to see that this series is back. And I have a feeling that there's going to be more seasons, Lorena, because I think they already confirmed season 3, actually. I think it was confirmed. What a
Did
fantastic
that.
show. Uh,
Okay, cool.
yeah, what a fantastic show. It is 100% toxic male, stamped approved. Lorena and R, stamped approved, 100% toxic
Yes.
male Reacher. And I can't say enough about season 1. I can't wait to get into season 2. It's going to feel good to have this ride again, Lorena. It really is.
Reacher is the toxic men as Bridgerton is to very feminine women.
Yes.
That's best way I can put it. I tell you, we're in for such a treat with season 2. It's gone in a way, a different way, but still fun and still cool. So, speaking of old dads, and this is probably one of my favorite old dads, and I was very happy that this reboot turned out the way that I would like. That would be Frasier. Yeah, I did. Did you watch the original Frasier?
I did watch the original Frasier, and it sounds like we need to have him come back and class up the joint. And certainly, from what I heard about this new reboot, he is back at the university at a time when it is very hard to go back to the university, and he has to kind of like live down his years on being on the radio. Certainly that wasn't the only thing he's done with his career, but from what I understand, he's getting backlash for being a radio personality. And it's kind of like the radio was his Twitter feed, right? And people are coming his radio feed, and they don't like the fact that he's back in the academic environment. And I think, if someone offered me a job in corporate or the academic environment, I'd take corporate. So,
Yeah, because it's just the kind of crap having to deal with, with like students. Because first he didn't want to like take the job. Well, he took the job, and then he was like trying to, be professional. And all the kids wanted to do was ask him about his show. Like he went from like this, he was on the radio, and then he had like this TV show, which was kind of timid in the beginning, but by the end, it was a full blown Dr. Phil type of show that was going on. And he's just like, why do my students not? This is Harvard. You should want to talk these particular theories. And the what was it? Well, of course, president of the university. She's just like, you get them to actually pay attention when you talk about the show. And he's like, well, I want to be known for more highbrow. You know how Frasier is. And then eventually they convince him, okay, yeah, I guess I gotta do this anyway. But between dealing with academia, his son, who's now grown up, Freddie, who was a Harvard dropout, and then you have his cousin. We don't see Niles, we don't see Maris, but we see Niles and Maris's son. Okay, who is just as neurotic as as Niles is. His buddy, why do I want to say it's Alan? I think I got that right. I hope I didn't. Did I get it right? Yes, I did. His buddy Alan Cornwall, who's British. Oh my gosh, he's still hilarious. He's nuts and hilarious, just with that deadpan British humor, and just Frasier trying to find out how his life has changed since the actor who played his father passed away. So him learning kind of like how to navigate the world. And of course, yes, Lilith does make an appearance. Oh my goodness. It's fun, and I'm really happy, how this turned out. Frasier takes his job as a father very seriously. He feels like he can't live up to his father's example. But, Freddie just wants him to be, who he is, and kind of like that father-son dynamic that's going on. And of course, Frasier navigating the dating scene. And it turned out that one chick who came to the house was both his date and his son's date.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's just, I'm so glad that it actually turned out good, because I loved the series Frasier. Something I used to watch. I think that was probably one of the few shows I watched like from beginning until the end, because it was just so funny. It was funny. It was highbrow humor with some lowbrow humor thrown in there, at the same time. But Frasier wasn't being demeaned because he was a man. Those epic I don't want to call them, well, we'll call them verbal spats with Lilith because they used words a lot more. Just how the sharp barbs that they would trade from one another was just, gosh, it's classic. But it's streaming on Paramount Plus. Lot of fun, a lot of fun to check out. A lot of fun to check out.
I can't wait to start watching this. Maybe I'll be able to watch some over the break. But and surprisingly, I can't remember the guy's name. Kelsey Grammer looks really, really good too. So I'm glad that he's healthy enough to even do the role. It does require some kind of, I was going to say joie de vivre. He has to have that demeanor of Frasier, which isn't going to change just because he's changed from radio to academia. He has to, he has this certain sense, and you can kind of see as he's posing among these great busts, that's how he sees himself. So that's something to think about. He's that professor, the one who thinks he's God's gift. And I would almost go so far as to say he might be. He might be God's gifts.
He really is. It's like he's kind of arrogant, but he's actually really good at what he does. So yeah, definitely check us out. This is fun. I'm so glad the reboot turned out as well as it did. So with that said, folks, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, a very, very happy New Year to you. Thank you so much for joining us and supporting the show. And of course, we will see you next time. Bye.